The one that I see the most of is America's Next Top Model. Why is that? Because I have 3 daughters, and 2 of them are still home and they love it. Come on, Daddy, watch it with us. Who do you think's going to win, Daddy? Oh, look at it. I mean, she's so mean. Oh, yeah, well, we watched that too, but I mean, that's the one that we...
Who do you think's going to win that?
I'm not going to get into that because they each have their own view, and, you know, I'm not going to get into that. I'll end up doing what that Australian judge is and make the wrong call. In terms of television, I mean, it's generally been humour. I look to TV for some light relief. I mean, some of the great shows. I used to love watching Cheers, brilliant comedy show, and a week of it in our times. Fred Dagg, some of our old Billy T. James, some of these comedy shows on TV just provide me with the opportunity for a bit of light relief. Hartstikke Hood. It was great. I mean, I had a pretty sheltered upbringing, very loving family. 6 of us, Catholic family, middle of South Auckland and Papatautai. And all tara in our early years, and we had an idyllic upbringing, and from that to Holland, right at the coalface of what they believed themselves to be the social conscience of the world. It was an absolute eye-opener at 18 years of age. But it absolutely opened up my view to a global sense, the issues of justice, poverty, racism, all of that. And so when I came back from Holland after that year, I was absolutely ready to change the world, get into political studies, but it was just also fabulous in terms of travel. I was quite fluent when I came back at Praten Beach in Nederlands, and so I could speak quite well. It was a bit pidgin Dutch, but certainly passable, fluent in Holland. Not extensively, just visits in and around the Pacific, to most of the Pacific Islands, to Australia, most of the cities, Singapore and up through there, have been through to the west coast of America, and of course into Europe, through those travel days. So have had quite good travel, but not as extensive as my wife would like, but that's another story. Love Melbourne. Melbourne is a great city with the right spirit, and I want to capture that same sense of determination that this is what we've got to do in Auckland. I want us to do rapid transit. I really want us to deliver on rail and public transport in Auckland to internationalise our city, and we're going to do it. Melbourne made some very clear decisions about what it wanted to achieve in terms of its international status. Brisbane is doing the same thing now. And Melbourne decided it wanted to be an event show city, and that's exactly the focus for Auckland in terms of tourism and economic growth. We're going to be an event city. Every weekend, a great event in Auckland, whether small or big or whatever, we're going to really power up that side of it. And for Auckland also show city. I mean, why should it be that people go and stay in Sydney and Melbourne or Brisbane to see the great shows of the world, and they stay 4 or 5 days? Why aren't we doing that? People come to our city, they only stay for an average of 1.9 nights, and then head off to Queenstown, Taupo, Rotorua, Mount Maunganui, wherever else, anywhere else but here. We're going to get them to stay here. We're a destination. There was a city in Brisbane called Curitiba, and the Mayor Lerner was quite famous around the world for his innovation, his energy, his ability to think outside of the square, and his enthusiasm. And I think that is probably the fellow that I aspire to mirror in my mayoral style, and particularly our ability to just have a vision and deliver on it. Go! Love it. We're gonna do it. Rock. Change agent of hope. His best years are ahead of him. I think his election as the President of the United States was critical and important. And I think that his presidency could be one of the most important times of American history, and maybe it won't be during the term of his presidency, but the change that he brings could actually have its consequences after. Sometimes. I can't be there all the time. It's the same as Facebook. Oh, do you like my Facebook page? Ooh, so exciting. I get on Facebook for about 20 minutes, half an hour a day. Some of it has to be administered. I mean, Barack Obama doesn't write all of his tweets in his Facebook entries. So it's that big. We've now got 8,000 friends and fans, and we would have 20,000, I tell you, if we didn't have to convert our friends to fans, because we should have started a fans page and not a friends page. Dumb. But I love the social media side of the campaign, and particularly connecting in with the young people. I've got a formidable interest in our young community and connecting them into this democratic process and getting them in early. And Facebook and Twitter has really enabled me to do that. Mayor can actually have a very significant part of that, and we know that a key issue for us in Auckland is access for young people to alcohol, excessive access, and an ability to get it particularly through off licences. And the impact of those off licences or liquor shops in local communities, and how they can be an attractor to the wrong type of behaviour. And the Mayor, my leadership, and the leadership of my predecessor in bringing the change through Parliament to enable communities to have stronger say in the setting up of those off licences, it was the primary mover. The change in Parliament comes off that advocacy and the support you get from your council colleagues and from the community in behind you to say we're going to have the change. It's critical. And so to lead that through and to watch the cream on the cake in Parliament as it comes through, you believe it. A local authority is a key part of how we address the issue of, in particular, this new generation coming through, the young men and women, managing and having a much better attitude, responsible attitude to alcohol drinking. I'm no wowser, I drink. But for me and my generation and my dad's generation, generations before you handed down this drinking binge mentality, we've got to be the ones to stop and to show balance. The one thing I learnt in those years in Holland was the Dutch kids had such a good balance around alcohol. They'd drink all right, but not crazy as we do. And it was about street corner cafes and constabularies and drinking with your mums and dads in a measured way. And that's what we've got to aspire to. I've got a real strong position around, sort of some of the other drugs also. Because I think we would struggle with it. We're struggling with others. If we're struggling with alcohol, I think also that I worry about the connect between cannabis and pee too. I'm seeing a lot of that pee cannabis stuff, and that is really wrecking people. And so my preference is to continue to be tough around that. I know there's some good arguments around medicinal use and things like that, and I accept that. Yeah, look, the one thing about my political leadership is that even if I have a position and it's staunch, I'm always up for watching, seeing where the evidence is. For example, cell phone towers. We had a big debate in our council over cell phone towers. And a lot of that debate was about the fear that having them in close proximity to human beings caused public health problems. And, I had to deal with a lot of emotion around that, and people were yelling and screaming at me, Len, don't allow them to happen here, it's killing my kids. Man, that was hard. But I stood solid and firm because I have not seen the evidence that says to me, Len, it is not safe. The day I see that evidence is the day I will change my position on cell phone technology. But I do not see it. And so it means that I'm open to new evidence. You give me the evidence, you show me it's irrefutable or it's getting in that direction, then I'm going to review my position.